What is up? What is up? What is up? And welcome back to the Let's Dig Into That podcast, where it is our mission to empower honest conversations that foster deeper connection and understanding. We want to encourage open dialogue about culture, relationships, and the ideas that shape the world. We volunteer our vulnerability in pursuit of growth and lasting change.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do. And of course, the voice you just heard, the person I always do this with, she's a hands-down 10. Especially when wearing overalls. She's a star in the making, just waiting for Oprah's call. It's Jordan, everybody!
Hey. Oh, yeah, that would be a solid Oprah outfit, is just rocking the bibs.
Oh, yeah.
I am so grateful for that. Here sitting beside my saltwater-loving, poetry-dropping, vulnerable Virgo, it is JT.
That was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that you throw in the poetry a lot.
I think it's maybe subtle, and I'm like, just drop me a little something. Maybe write me a little roses are red, violets are blue.
We got a poem frame for you up there.
It's true. You have written me. Okay. That's
All right,
why
fine.
I gave homage. I gave a little shout out. You ready to have some fun?
I am ready to have some fun.
About time. We all know I'm the fun one. Everybody knows.
Well, we don't have enough of it. I don't think it's possible to have too
Is
much
it we
fun.
or like all of us?
Are you trying to point fingers?
No,
here?
I was clarifying. Is your we the you and the me? Like right here?
Well, yeah. Fun is our topic today, and I think it's a really good one. It seems too basic. It seems like it's not enough, and like, oh, well, we all understand and know what that is. We sit and look at each other too often and go, what do you want to do?
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Now my turn for a little clarification. What happens is JT comes to me, he's like, we need to have some fun. And that warning call means we are too late. Like his expectation of what is going to be connecting. In fact, my response I want to give is, do I have to come? Like, why don't you go get you some? Have you exercised all of your solo fun things prior to this moment?
What an only child thing to say.
Right. I think that is going to be key in this conversation. That, yeah, I think our unique definitions of what we might constitute as fun or when we're having fun, I would like to think, toot toot, that mine might be quite, whether healthy or not, a broader sweeping scope, because I'm an only child raised with an educator as a mom, that I made the most menial tasks F-U-N.
And I would probably argue that a lot of those menial tasks weren't actually fun.
They weren't. I had to convince myself by writing a ditty, or I love to sort and organize, and I'm a tidier.
So once again, the ditty was fun, not the activity.
It's an excellent clarification, but it's also tricky, and I feel like this is a little premature to jump into, but only child, like I also have a hypervigilance, whether those two are related. You got that people pleaser thing, but
Yeah.
How can you relate to, like, are you having fun if others aren't? Like, I can't have fun unless I've done my damnedest to make sure
good
everybody
point.
else is good.
Yeah.
My fun comes last. So that's why I wanted to dig into this, because I'm like, yeah, I want more. I want bursties. I want burst sips.
I get that. Yeah, no. You are great at fun. I was just trying to devil's advocate a little bit here.
Once we figure out what you're looking for, you too are a massively fun, like competitor, partner, teammate, wingman, all of it. You have it in you.
Yeah. So when you think about fun, are there elements like what is the most fun for you? What makes up fun?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't go to activity. I instantly was like, we know it here. Anticipation. I love looking forward to fun.
Yes.
And so with my ability in this beautiful wide scope of what could be fun, like I can pretty much get it up for about any part. You took me to the library today, and I think I high-fived you. And interestingly enough, we got a new book about the power and art of how to do nothing.
Yes.
I believe Jenny Odell is her name.
Odell,
So I'll get
that's
back to you. Just picked it up today. But library for me, super fun. Not the norm for everyone.
Well, I mean, that makes me think learning.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me ask you, do you think learning is fun, JT?
No. I mean, here's what I think is fun about learning.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so I do enjoy to learn. It's so important. But when I'm actively learning something new, like let's give it an example of I'm on YouTube learning how to fix something at the house.
Okay.
Am I enjoying watching that YouTube video?
Shit's broken. I'm already not having fun. Nope.
Not exactly, but as I can see something and I'm learning a skill or a task or a trade, that actually fills me up and makes me feel like I'm having fun because I'm practically applying it in my brain to how I'm going to use it. And that part is fun for me.
Do you think there's a chance that comes from, because I think if I had to guess on childhood kiddo JT, being very sporty, very much play outside, get
All the
teams,
time, yep.
competitor, where you had to, I know you're an inventor by blood as well,
Tortilla
but
tape.
you had to learn these games. There was a time when you didn't just know how to run the bases or play these sports. And so I think there is an element of understanding, like you need to know what the rules of the game are in
Yes.
order to dip into that fun. And so that's cool how it's translated. We're like, you grew up and now YouTube.
Was so important into having fun for me was a challenge. And when I did some research for this and like I really wanted people to understand why this is so important, one of the definitions, because there were so many different ones, gave fun 4 elements. One of them was challenge. The other 3 were social connection, a sense of flow, which I think we'll talk about more, and then exploration. And so when I think about how I came up with and what made fun for me, that challenge was a big part of it. Learning a new game, getting better at it and growing in it. That was so much
You just said you
of
like
who
learning.
I was.
Yeah. Learning a new game. I heard that. But right, the challenge is what brought you to, you needed to achieve, conquer, like that was what you got kind of the thrill.
Exactly. The challenge aspect was so important to me where this is difficult and I could see growth. That was fun for me. And for me, fun is so retrospective. You know what I mean?
Right, where I'm the anticipation. I think that's a great point that you are, whoa,
Yeah.
that was awesome. And I'm like on to my next adventure plan.
Right. Well, earlier this season, Dr. Adam Dorsey talked about the drive-away test. You remember that? And it was, do people feed or bleed you? I do that same thing.
You have a fun scorecard?
Well, when I'm thinking about like, how am I going to spend my time? I really need to have some fun. I look back at things that I've done that were fun and I'm wondering how effective that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how do we know? Because it's embarrassing to be like, I feel a lack of worthiness sometimes around fun. So it's like, okay, I don't really know. Do I go back to like childhood? Well, I used sidewalk chalk yesterday. So I do have a lot of fun.
You're saying you don't feel worthy of having fun?
Sometimes I feel like I need to have my productivity, my to-do list, I need to feel accomplished before fun is like the little treat at the end. So I'm capable of working it in. Like I keep trying to convince you, cleaning is super fun.
No, it's not.
It's really not. It's really not. I'm going to be honest with you.
Listening to music while cleaning can be fun. And
Yes. Music helps immensely.
having a
And
clean house afterwards, I would say, is a reward that could be kind of fun.
Is
I
that
mean, I don't
fun
know.
or is that like joy, or do you take pleasure in your work? I would
Pleasure,
argue that
yeah.
that's pleasure.
I agree.
And so differentiating pleasure like more fleeting.
Pleasure's more fleeting. What about joy?
Okay, I actually do know those. Joy, because I was very curious because I'm like, I think I'm at this stage in life where I'm like, search for peace. Hell yeah, I still want a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah.
I literally wrote, we don't dance enough twice on this piece of paper. Like, and we dance a fair amount, but there's a wedding coming up that is too sparsely attended. We're going to make it weird. Like, it's going to be a lot for others to take in.
Yes.
And so joy, pleasure, fun. And so I think joy is what was attracting me, where I'm like, that is the duration, I think, is what where pleasure we're saying kind of
Little
I'm gonna
fleeting,
go
external.
low hanging fruit here, no double entendre intended, but like sexual like sexual pleasure, easiest one to kind of fleeting. It's sensory, it's external.
Right.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
then you have joy, this more deep, internal, sustained kind of
Gotcha.
happiness.
Okay.
Where fun is some, I think having fun can lead to a deeper sense of joy. Like, I personally do not feel you can have a full, rich, truth at your core, honest, fulfilling life without fun
Wow.
in it.
I would hope that
Can
no one
look
has
different.
to, but yes,
I would hope
you
that is
know?
so true. Like feeling entitled to fun, where I was talking, but the worthiness that it was. I remember being like I don't know, that 18, 19, and girls' trip, moms and daughters, and everyone's going to get a massage. And I was like, I haven't really worked out on this trip. So I'm going to take a no to my mom's buying,
Dang.
and I just remember being on my jog, being like, what am I training for? Who is keeping a
Right.
list
Was
of,
your
I didn't
jog
earn it.
fun?
I didn't earn it.
Wow.
It was cool. But
Do you think that you have a heightened sense of enjoyment when you're actually in the moment of fun, when you have quote unquote earned it? Is it more fun if you
Ooh.
earn it?
Expectations get mixed up there, and I can be my mind can do magical things where I'm like, of course it is. And so I would have to think a little more deeply on that, because I'm like, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
But I think that I want to when did it become this luxury that I had to work for, and not my MFM birthright of just being a fun haver? Again,
Right.
says the woman who used sidewalk jog
Well,
yesterday.
that I think is the key of this podcast question. Why is it more difficult as we grow up? Like,
To know what we
to know what we want and what actually brings us joy and is fun for us. Like, we've talked about it in the past. I've been on hikes where I'm like, why am I hiking? This is just extreme
We
walking.
do. We do bond on, like, JT and I are down for a good loop. But you send us on a up and back, like, there's probably trail lingo for that. Like,
Yeah.
it is not the same. Even though there have been a lot of successes when you're like up and down a mountain, there's kind of one way in and out, when the view is quite different.
Yeah.
When you flip it and reverse it. But give us a good loop, much more happy campers. We are not cyclists. People consider biking fun. I don't understand.
Right.
Death wish.
And that's one of the other things that's so challenging about trying to put a definition to fun, is it's different for every person. And that's one of the things that I hope, like the takeaway of this podcast, I hope people realize, when you can identify what it is that actually brings you joy, what is fun in the moment, it's so much harder than we just wash it over like, oh, everyone understands
No,
fun.
those trickle down consequences of you are in a better mood. I'm more creative. I'm more outgoing. I'm more, that social connection for the introvert over
Yes.
here is heightened, and I'm more adventurous in different ways from having this fun, challenging. The exploration was another word.
Yeah.
Getting out of that comfort zone, that does enhance other parts.
Exactly. And to use fewer words to say what I'm trying to say, fun is a form of connection, and it can be connecting with other people, or it could be connecting with yourself. Because I would argue, to really have fun, you have to be connected with yourself. You have to be self-aware. You have to know what it is that actually makes you feel joy.
Right, because we've all had that telling moment when you're on your
And it's
hike,
hard.
when you're like, I don't dig it. Like, people that are like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but thanks for the invite, but I don't really do live music. And I'm like, I don't understand, because that's something that I do get a lot of joy, that's my most retroactive, because it's this moment in time. But I can understand that. Oh, you don't want to go stand in a crowd where it's so loud you can't talk to anybody.
people stink.
And
Yeah.
and everything's the floor is sticky, but like not in the great way. Which,
Yeah.
speaking of, how about fun for two people who haven't talked about the fact we don't drink anymore?
Oh, man.
Fun will look different.
Well, that's the other thing, is fun's going to evolve. Just like we evolve and new things change.
There was a time in our lives that I don't think you and I could have said there was anything fun necessarily. And this sounds more negative coming out. Help me with my words. But all of the fun stuff we did definitely involved booze.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Bummer, but
how
accurate.
and we got trained that way. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, you're hit college and you're supposed to, like, right, freshman, you got to put on the weights or something like that. Or you get the job, or, or whatever it is. And then you have the 5 o'clock and you've got your group. You've got that friend, like buddies that get together for a beer. That seems like a pretty relatable situation.
well, I think that's one of the things that actually makes fun challenging as we evolve into adulthood, is the fun that we've had as kids it's obviously not something that's applicable into our daily lives anymore. And I would say
Not
that
all of it, but
not,
some.
but you get what I'm saying. Like, I can't act like I did in college anymore.
Oh, right.
And it wouldn't be fun for me anymore, but it's the only avenue I had for a long time. Whereas, like, I'm going to get together with my buddies, we're going to drink and watch a football game and go out and see what girls are out. Like, that was how we had fun for a long period of time. You know, I grew up skateboarding. My body would fall apart. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it evolves with you.
Right.
And when we get to this adulthood where all of a sudden we have a 9 to 5 and we
Responsibilities.
live and responsibilities, we live a different life, and it's hard to incorporate fun because what we know of fun isn't something we can continue to do anymore.
When it is like the heavy weekend or the Friday, like you use the phrase toxic fun.
Yes.
Not too, and like false fun is kind of a phrase that I feel, that it is like, I'm sort of like inauthentic to me or substance required for me to reach the level of, whoop, whoop. And so, but it's crazy to think like that was my communication device, my bonding mechanism. It was how you made memories. And it was horrifyingly scary on the brink of making a lifestyle choice. The internal struggle of, I don't think I'm going to like me anymore. Will I still be funny or be able to have fun?
Right.
Like, how terrifying, because I didn't know. Like, you would hope so. But yeah, there is something about.
Yeah, I would say
that time.
alcohol, particularly the way that we used it, was a form of toxic fun or false fun. But that's a dangerous and scary sort of concept.
Not sustainable.
Well, I think there's a lot of things.
Like the way we were exercising.
There's a lot of things in the world, in the way that our culture operates, that are this idea of toxic or false fun, where you go and do something that's maybe a little dangerous, or you hang out with a friend that you know is into bad things or something. And in the moment, it's undeniable that you do have fun. That's what's so scary, is that these toxic things can be very fun for us, but only in the short term. And so I think that our culture has a problem of people who are coming into adulthood, starting to get jobs, you know, in their mid-30s and 40s, those midlife transitions where we're not sure what fun is, because all the things that we used to associate fun with were toxic and they were in the moment fun. And now we're left in left in this situation where we have no idea what brings us joy and happiness, and we would actually put into that fun category.
And it's tricky with that combination of, will society allow us to, I'm going back to my worthiness sort of aren't we all too busy? Like, who even needs it?
Right.
Like, why are we even, considering? And now I'm going to flip it on my own self and say that I can't do this. Sit here with you and have an engaging conversation. This is way freaking fun for me. I hope that comes through.
Absolutely.
But I can't do this without having other elements of fun because of that, again, that trickle-down effect where it's like, oh, I caught this crazy color, saw this interaction, I experienced a new view of whatever that has, it falls into something you're creating, a story you share, something you build later. And I think that fun is requisite for me to do what I do.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is a creative venture. You know, us doing this podcast, the book that we've been working on, those things can't happen for you without fun. It's a prerequisite for creativity.
Vitality. I think that I can turn, because I can fall in love with a spreadsheet. I can make it weird. We can spend some quality time. If I am not mixing it up and doing something that does, I think I said like shake it up. Like, I think not having a trampoline my whole life may really need, should I just get one of the little ones? Like, is a giant one a bad plan? But that sense of literally shaking my brain up and down and not being able to be anywhere else, that was like stone cold fun.
Yes.
And right now, I don't think as a culture that our mailman driving by, luckily we do kind of have a little bit of I would have some privacy, but let's just say, that there's Jordan jumping on her tramp bouncing. And so, yeah, that I don't, it needs to be more the norm. But I don't know if, yeah, we're there because I'm supposed to be. That's not productive. If I get caught jumping on my trampoline at 2 on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
shame. What a rebellion. What a shameful rebellion. No love.
Yeah, but should it be that way? I mean, that's
I'll
terrible.
get you riled up right here. FOMO. Okay, fun FOMO. Tell me, do you have that?
Big time.
Okay.
It's one of my biggest
Worked.
deterrents. Like we already sort of talked about, I retrospectively think about fun and look to recreate it. Like that's sort of how I've always gone about my fun behaviors. And so when I'm thinking about that, but I've been pulled into something else that's probably going to be a lot of fun, I'm going to be thinking about that other thing. Or like, hey, we're going to this concert. And I'm like, but it's inside and it's 75 degrees outside. And think about all these other things I can be doing. Like I definitely have that problem.
This is a safe place to admit. This is a usually fun environment, but you do have that problem. And
I know.
love
Yeah.
and it's really cool to have the self-awareness because, social media, its own beast. Because I was thinking in the context, too, of like, oh, man, they got to go to that place. I've been to the restaurant. I've been dying to try the trip I want to go on. And it's all can stir me up into rage, BS. And so we won't stay there. But you are doing... Do you think that's your brain's fault or your biology? Well, it's kind of the same. Your biology of our negative bias that it's, I could also see if we had outdoor concert tickets, this boy'd be sweating. It's going to rain.
Yep.
Yep. It's going to be
Absolutely.
too windy. The acoustics, the sound will be off. And so again, yes, you are fun once we have trampled your anxiety.
Well, that's natural. Like we've talked about brain chemistry a little bit, and we are wired for survival. All of us. I don't care who you are, like we are going to look at the negative. It carries more weight than the positive, almost 2 to 1.
That is really troubling when
It is really troubling.
You
And
have this
so-
amazing night, and then there's that one person that said this very off-putting thing down the bar, and you can't unhear it, and
Exactly
you're
right.
like, ruined it.
Imagine you
I hate that.
Imagine you did something that we've never done together, but let's say we went line dancing.
I go right now.
Absolutely. And we had an absolutely wonderful time. But at the end of the night, there was that one jerk that came over and was like, you guys don't know how to do this. You were in my way, blah, 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 blah. Your likelihood,
joy hater.
Exactly, but your likelihood of remembering that instance as opposed to all the fun you had previously,
Right.
That's
Impeccable evening.
That's how our brains work. Like, don't hold that against people because we literally, as people, because of survival, hold on to those negative characteristics because we need them for information as we move forward and survive.
Fair. And so training ourselves to, power through, because I am that silver lining hunter. And so FOMO, you think, again, how distracting is that?
Oh, big time.
Because I think that's another fun moment where it's like life and responsibility distracts me from this, goofy little what, and it doesn't have to be. I'm going to promote the cheap and cheerful fun. I'm going to inspire you here in a little, but I think that prioritizing it once again seems to be
absolutely
clutch.
I love the layup fun. Because anyone who read James Clear's Atomic Habits, like if you can just get started on one little tiny thing that brings you joy and happiness and makes you feel a sense of I'm having fun, that builds. You know what I mean? That's a great way to sort of get into a state of understanding what fun is for you. Because that's the whole thing is like you have to figure out what's authentically fun for you. That's why I say it's a form of self-connection is because you figure out what fills your cup. To use more Adam Dorsey language, but
And so the flow we're talking about, because I'm curious when the last time you felt like you were fully flowing with it. So when you're engaged in an activity to the point that you lose track of time and you have a sense of like, it's almost like effortless action. Yeah, I'm sure that some of those cyclists, again, don't get it. But
so again, in our research for this, we had another term that I thought was really cool. That was true fun. And true fun, I think you've got them written down for me. The 3 elements that go into true fun.
flow is one of them.
Flow, big time.
That connection, which again, we're talking about both self and then the other definition, talked about social, all count in this context. And then playfulness.
Playfulness, yeah. So that flow element, I think about this again. Sorry, I always go back to sports and athletics, but I remember playing in so many different games and not being able to recognize anyone in the crowd. You know what I mean? That sense
In
of
the zone.
that sense
Yeah, the
of like
flow.
there's no crowd, you're not hearing anyone, and people would come up and be like, "Hey, did you hear our chant?" And I'd be like, "Absolutely not." In the flow. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's the sense of all your anxiety, all your stress. That goes away when you are in that sense of flow. It's magical. That is like true fun is exactly what that means for me. Is like when I can get to that sense, I'll remember that forever. Like I can think of when I was in that zone, the games that I was like, I didn't hear anything.
Has that happened recently?
It's hard as an adult. It really is. But competition, it evolves. Fun has to change. And so my competition, I used to get into that zone. It's now more of a competition with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really got into fitness and weightlifting, and that was because I really enjoyed competing against myself. Those measurable gains mean a lot to me. And so, yes, I can get in that flow state. What's tricky is it's harder to do outside of team sports with other people.
You get it musically ever when you're just.
Oh yeah, it happens musically all the time, and that's wonderful. And I'd love to jam more, but I got to do that more.
See, and
I
I
got to
struggle because
prioritize.
I think that the flow for me, where I'm like, how much time does that need? Because what do I do that lasts longer than 15 minutes? I
I can think of
bounce.
some.
And so, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. But I'm like, flow for me, writing is that moment where it's like, oh, like, have you, like, where you miss a meal? That
Yes.
rarely happens. Because I would say something fun for Jordan, chewing.
This episode of Let's Dig Into That is brought to you by.
Are you an adult who wants to play but can't shake the feeling that joy is irresponsible? Introducing permission slips for adults, scientifically unapproved, emotionally liberating little notes that say, yes, Sharon, you can ride that grocery cart like a chariot. Jump rope in public? Slip says yes. Build a pillow fort? Double yes. Laugh snort during a work Zoom? Permission granted. Because you don't need to earn your fun. You're not being childish, you're being a whole human. Get your downloadable stack of permission slips for adults, wherever fun is quietly suppressed. Or just make your own. We believe in you.
Warning, side effects may include laughter, eye contact, and remembering who you are. Fun is not a crime, but if it were, we'd be on the run. I'm still curious why, as adults, it becomes so much more difficult to have fun. And I was sitting here thinking, like, my ideas of fun, sitting in this room right now, none of them lead to anything productive.
That's true.
Is that an
yeah.
element of fun, in your opinion? Like, it has to not be geared towards achieving something, or like
Right, because in my spirit of like, oh yeah, cleaning's fun, like it isn't. And I do think your traditionalist view is unproductive, such a, nail on the head of when you're like full relaxing.
fun should be a break from what I have to do to be productive.
Right. So is it requisite for, zero productivity in order for me to have fun?
Right.
Yeah. I think the challenge where it is, so I don't know if that's, but I think that's a great place to start on the discovery mission of how did I grow up and forget what the hell it felt like to have fun?
Yes.
And so how do we get back to that? I don't know. I tried to find ask that chat GPT like, hey, where's my fun read in my body? What part should I be looking for that's going to like wake up to this? And I think that, do you have a fun friend? Ask them. Like for me, it is, I don't know what I think about until I write about it. And so for me, I'd want to ask something like, tell me about your most delicious day. And that would be like dreamy, like daydream moving. Doesn't have to be something that has already happened, even though you mentioned that you like to recreate that, like, that was a blast. Let's do it again. I
Right.
get that. I
Yeah.
always want to be the last one off the high dive. Totally understand. I had more fun than everyone. Yeah.
Right.
And so
what I'm getting is the challenge aspect. And I like how you frame that. Yeah, the challenge aspect makes something productive, still fun. Where I can see that, where I've always traditionally looked at fun as a break from something I'm doing to be productive, but they can be one and the same.
I think that, there's a bit of a scale, but I think that leaning into unproductive, something that's full on just indulgence overload of, I'm going to go get in the freaking ball pit. I'm going to go paintball
Jump on the
gun,
trampoline. I like
and,
that.
Yeah, jumping on the, like going with something that is unproductive and just a blast to kind of hit that reset button. Cause I think that's why it's important to have these is like checking in. Cause I think I have a responsibility to ensure this environment in this house is a little bit fun.
Yes.
Yeah, a
It
little
should
bit
be.
more than a little, because yeah, I will take some liberties in that range of like things. What do you think? There, I would just be like, two go-to Jordan moves. God, the vulnerability of this place. I love to scare the living daylights out of this grown-ass man. He's big and strong, and I have made him make noises that can't, I
I
mean,
squawk. I don't know what it is.
it is hilarious, and it brings me, and both of us.
And I love it too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I think that that's a fun...
This is not your nightmare. Because
No,
that is.
no.
Like, I don't think some people are big into tickling. I'm all right if you don't touch me like that, ever. I'm way fine with it. So, yeah, I like to scare him or just unexpected nudity. Like yesterday,
Yes.
I weed-eated up by our mailbox, like on the main drag. And then my pants were covered in grass, so I just ditched them in the garage.
Came in from the garage.
And so I came
Porky
in.
Pig in it.
And I just was full on Porky Pig. And I was like, that's pretty funny. And so, yeah, those are my moves. But I think there's a responsibility for me, myself, to have it, but also to create. I want to encourage you to make life a
Absolutely.
little bit more fun, too.
Well, that is one of the dynamics in a relationship that I think is challenging because fun is different for every person.
Mm-hmm.
And so having fun together as a couple, a lot of times someone's making, a compromise to go to the football game with their... How do you have fun in those situations? What would you say to folks who are struggling having fun as a couple?
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Because like both definitions that we've given,
Yeah.
true fun.
I'd
and-
say go back to where you started. You fell in love at a time when you were dating and doing stuff and connecting on the music you liked or the art or whatever, the books. So go back to the foundation.
Right.
And so I've never said that before, but, but get back to the foundation of what drew you together. Because yeah, even with evolution, there might be maybe you fell in love paintballing and now you realize that you set up this super cool, I don't know if this even connects, like archery became your thing and you're in this cool club. And
Right.
But yeah, don't give up on it because that is really tricky. And I think parents might have an insane challenge and also incredible opportunity for unexpected fun in raising kiddos. And yeah,
Right.
because I do have very gratitude heavy, like the way I hold those memories of making the most mundane, sorta, kinda. Like I mowed everyone's yard. Like my parents got divorced and I was like, don't worry, I'm on it because I made it fun enough.
Right.
Solo.
Well said. I was just sort of noticing that both definitions we gave included connection.
Right.
So is it possible to have fun
I think that's
by yourself?
self. Yes, 100%.
You could, so that connection can be connection to
I'm
yourself.
counting on it because if all these if I cannot have fun unless there's another person in the room, like nightmare.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what's going to lead because the fun can only be enhanced when you find that social connection element of folks that are into the same weird ass card collecting or
Yeah.
whatever I'm sorry, no judgment, but you want those pet rocks lined up in the windowsill, like do you?
Right.
But yeah, finding your people, but being so true and honest about, which again, I have like a 1% read, I feel
On
like
yourself?
I find a lot of things kind of fun, but if it's like, hey Jordan, what are the top 3? I couldn't make.
Really?
No,
Huh.
I'm just like, I'm a good time. Invite me anywhere. I don't drink anymore. I'm still fun. I got a t-shirt that says that, I swear, somewhere.
I like that. A connection with yourself, connection with nature, connection. There's a lot of
Exactly.
things where you can get that connection element that, according to
Like you said,
our
lifting
sources,
weights and you were doing that on your own challenge meets. That's so rewarding. Like you
Yeah.
got the amusement of like, man, I feel like I really nailed that. Crushing it. Like, I think that can
Gotcha.
be, yeah.
So I hope people have been to therapy and have been asked this question. But again, sort of digging into the adulthood struggle for fun. Who in your life?
I know exactly where you're
Who-
headed.
yeah,
Yeah,
who in
when
your
did
life
who broke us?
made it okay to play and have fun, and who in your life didn't?
So I have not paid for all that therapy yet. But I do think I see your point, because it's, if you're lucky enough to have had a childhood that included play and fun, and you were able to try new things, explore, be challenged, all of that good stuff, there came a moment when it wasn't a birthright anymore, when it became not okay. And I don't know, nor would I want to out anyone. I want to just power to the other side of like, okay, but that's really scary kind of to think about and I think in a moment of searching for what's fun look like for me now, going back to that
Right.
the pre-broke phase, when you were like, I'm actually going to go visit my like oldest wearing braces bestie very, very soon. And it smells like fun now. Which has a hint of like McDonald's French fries and like burned rubber and stuff like. And so, I think that going, back to the roots. But do you have that? Have you been lucky enough?
Well,
who broke your fun?
I feel like I'm only being negative, but
well, one of us had. It's all about two points of view.
I think more about the things that deterred me from having fun. The coaches who didn't give constructive criticism and as opposed to just critiqued and made you feel shameful for your actions. And then, I think about any situation where we've talked about psychological and felt safety before. And if you don't have the idea that you can screw up and it's still going to be okay, it's really hard to have fun.
Zero chance.
And so I just just immediately thought to all the people who were a roadblock and made it so I felt insecure, or I felt othered, or I felt lesser.
Not doing that anymore.
Those are the people that took the fun out of the activities. Like, it doesn't fill in the blank on the activities. If you were the person that criticized and made fun of, like, you just probably made whatever action they were doing something that they don't enjoy anymore. And I know that's extreme, and I'm jumping a lot of steps there, but But
your likelihood to take a risk, to try something new,
the
to
exploration,
go out outside the comfort zone is so, like you said, our brain 2 times, you know, weighing those inputs of that just awful feedback. And man, I think it's probably why I don't have kiddos is sarcasm. That I feel like I would have just think I was being funny and just broken spirits on the little league team left and right.
Right.
Like, and they hit a great shot. You think that was a hit? Like, could have gotten. I'm like, oh my God.
And to flip that on its head, there's so many people in my life who did the opposite, who were encouraging, who empowered. That's why this is a form of connection, in my opinion. Fun is connection. And the reason I feel that way is those people remain in my brain also. And they encourage me to try and expand and learn what it is that I feel authentically connected to, in turn leads to fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the farmer's market fun for you?
No.
Okay, so hiking, no. All right. What about picnics?
Can be fun for sure.
Okay, snacks involved.
Yeah.
We've established I like chewing. Volunteering.
Exploration.
What about volunteering? That's a productive, more...
That's a great productive thing intense. That I absolutely...
Can you have fun volunteering?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Meeting new people, building those connections, exploration, the elements of fun are all there.
When's the last time you participated in a scavenger hunt?
Easter.
Yeah, so like but less than 3 weeks.
I built it.
It is pretty amazing. And it's true, down to the goofy like library, the painting something. It's worth it. Find it. I think it makes us all better people. If we could just have a little bit more fun. But I'm going to take this with a little bit of flipping my unworthiness for having a little more fun too. I am going to be the joy tender.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the joy tender.
I like
the
it.
fun maker, joy tender. That's right. Serving it up.
Well, I think what we learned together having this conversation is we use the P word a lot, the perspective. Fun has a lot to do with your perspective. And if you can change your perspective from, hey, this negative thing happened to me, and try again with a new perspective and maybe a new group of folks, like really the way that you view how you look at things that make you feel good about yourself, bring you joy. That self-reflection aspect and that self-awareness is so crucial to understanding what is fun for you.
And now it's time for Yeditations, the thoughts in our brains keeping us from meditating.
I'm pretty sure the biggest thing that keeps me from meditating might be fun. You know what I mean?
That's a great thing if you're having too much fun or you're like, this is not fun.
Well, again, we have a whole segment called Yeditations because we struggle to meditate.
We do.
And I'm realizing, much like a lot of people use prayer, I think I only meditate when I'm like in a need.
That's fair.
And so the FOMO around fun, like, it's hard for me to sit down and be like, oh, what could I be missing out on? And
yeah, FOMO, I do think might be other people's fun has now inhibited your non-existent practice.
But in the same vein, what this conversation is helping me realize is there's so many factors that go into the activity of having fun. A lot of times for me, fun is an end result of all these other things. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like meditation. Meditation helps you focus so you can be more productive in areas of your life. There's a lot that goes into having fun. There's a lot that goes into having fun.
This has been Yeditations.
How do you set down the shame of, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm a grown man who just really still into the Beanie Babies? Like, can't get enough, those little squishy stuffed animals.
I've been dealing with that a little bit in our life where we live in an isolated spot. I don't have a lot of like dudes to chill with. And so a lot of times I'll be like, I'll put it out there, but I do it in a softer way than other people maybe would. I'll be like, hey man, if I don't figure out a hobby, my wife's going to lose her mind.
My wife is incapable of fun until I get out to go have some.
But you get what I'm saying is like, you can be vulnerable in an aspect where it's maybe a little self-deprecating but that's how I reach out to folks when I'm feeling a little insecure about the fact that I don't have enough in my life to fill my own fun cup. Like I reach out to buddies and be like, if I don't figure out a way to get out of the house or get a hobby, like things are going to get ugly, and you got to make a joke.
I'm all right with that.
Make a joke about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's true because the motivation, the inspiration of, I want it, because I do think you need variety where you can only paint your landscape so many times if that's fun before you need to say, my wife's poking me to get out the door. And but he tries to go golf and I'm like, I like golf. I just want to do all the fun stuff. So I do have FOMO too. Oh my God, it came full circle.
There it is.
It came full circle. But no, I don't know if I could do it without a safe environment. I don't think if I knew someone was going to mock me, like
no fun
right
to be
there.
had.
And my embarrassment scale, like if I were to tump off the stage, no injury, my temperature would get up, but I could laugh that off pretty quick. But being, brought down a couple clicks would have my recovery would be a little bit slower. So that insecurity moment.
Yeah.
Well, can't be the fun note to end on. Yeah. So
fun is a necessity.
Could you tell me like a dreamy, delicious day? Or even a couple highlights? Morning even? Oh, okay. He's going to paint us a picture. We'll have it on the next episode.
Well, I could definitely do that, but I could give you the elements. How about that?
I love it.
I would want to do something competitive that would make me sweat. That is something that is always going to be fun for me. And so if I can figure out a way, even if it's competing with myself,
great one.
That is a huge element of how I can have a really fun day. Then I want to challenge myself in a mental capacity. That is going to be a crucial element to having a fun day for me as well. And then for me, we are a little different in this sense. Being around people that make me feel empowered and inspired. Those are the three elements of fun that I just sort of laid out for you and how they actually apply in my life. If I'm going to plan a fun Saturday, those are the three things that I'm going to shoot for.
I love it. That does sound
Put me on the
dreamy.
spot. I hope it was good.
That does sound dreamy. Well, no, this is a lot of fun. And as we
Yes.
know, I like the planning of it. So challenge accepted.
Hey, we should be a good team. You love to plan. I love the in the moment and the afterthought. So together we got all three elements, right?
It's true. If you and I walked out, we got through your FOMO challenge. If we walked out of the same event and we were like, scale of 1 to 10, how much fun did you have in there? Do you think we'd be close to the same number?
Wow. I think if we did it 24 hours later, yes.
Ah.
In the moment, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there might be some, I'd come out and be like, it was a 13. And the next day be like, what concert?
Well, again, simple topic, but it is so crucial. Fun is a necessity in our lives.
Prioritize the play. Baby, you worth it. Treat yourself. Yes.
Well, this has been absolutely amazing, everybody. Thank you, Love Ninjas. I'm JT.
And I'm Jordan.
Be brave, beautiful friends.
If this podcast, or just JT, means something to you, it would mean the world to us if you had a second to share this episode or your favorite episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe or follow on the homepage at letsdigintothat.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We adore you, Love Ninjas.
And we see you, Rage Pirates.
Thank you. Thank you.